Lately, my body's not been feeling the best. I'm fine. I'm not really that sick, actually, but I've needed to slow down and rest. I don't know if any of you can relate to this. I don't know. And can I just say it's very frustrating? I don't want to rest. I got things to do. The world's on fire. I got places to be. But my body is reminding me I gotta rest, too. It's forcing me to return to some comforts. Comforts like my soft, comfy couch, like the softest blanket in the world, like cold ginger ale, or comforts like some of my favorite comfort reads, such as a book in the Monk and Robot series, Prayer for the Crown Shy from Becky Chambers. The series is a deliciously delicate science fiction novel series. Novella, they're really short, but it explores what it means to be human and alive. And in this book, there is this sci-fi alternate theology that I find fascinating, because of course I do. And it's one where comfort is held as important. I'll quote their beliefs or tenets from this book. Without the use of constructs, you will unravel few mysteries. Without the knowledge of mysteries, your constructs will fail. Find the strength to pursue both, for these are our prayers. And to that end, welcome comfort, for without it, you cannot stay strong. End quote. So in this book, right, in their worldview, they need to be able to use tools to find out knowledge, kind of like science. You know, we need tools, certain things that we build, places and institutions for us to find out more truths about the universe. Well, you also need knowledge of the universe so your tools work. If you didn't know gravity, your house would fall apart. So in their perspective, it is the human search for knowledge and truth and the need to build tools and institutions to help humanity go. Those are the actions of human culture. So they need to be strong and they need comfort. Comfort in this worldview is seen as very important, for comfort is what offers people strength to be able to discover the truth and to build a just world. Now, maybe don't get too comfortable, especially since we're in the real world. I know as Unitarian Universalists here in the real world, we talk about the need to get uncomfortable, especially if you have dominant racial group identities like myself as a cisgender white person. You gotta be willing to get a little uncomfy. The work of learning and growing and committing ourselves to justice is inherently uncomfortable, transformative work. We are called to stretch our hearts and minds. We're called to confront hard truths with responsibility and humility. There is no way to live authentically into our shared values of love, of justice and equity if we hide away from the problems of our world, no matter how tempting it can get when the news cycle gets overwhelming. Our Unitarian Universalist faith asks all of us to be brave, to have strength to face the realities of our world, while rolling up our sleeves to do our small part to make the world a better place. Find the strength to pursue both. In order to maintain that strength, though, in our very default nature as human beings, we need comfort. Now, I know comfort's a big concept that can mean many, many different things, but I believe all the different facets of comfort are necessary. You can understand comfort as human necessity: rest, sleep, food, clean water. Right? That's needed. Our human bodies literally need these things to survive. You can understand comfort as emotional support and care, as spiritual care, as loving presence during times of hardship and trouble. These are necessary for us to be resilient and to have strong spirits and hearts. And you can also understand comfort as life's pleasurable moments, right? As the soft blanket, the delicious sip of soda, the occasional massage, yes, even maybe romantic pleasure, delight in a spring day. These are also necessary. for our human bodies to regulate our emotions, to create supportive structures of solace, to rediscover joy, wonder, and gratitude. It is a hardwired part of our mammalian nature, comfort. Comfort is a necessary endeavor to keep us thriving for the long journey of our lives. Yet often, in our current culture, comfort or comforts are either seen as, one, delicious escapes from life that you should buy, or two, superfluous luxuries only available to those who have earned them or who can afford them. For the first, delicious escapes you can buy. The self-care industry has taken that and ran with it, right? We've seen it in our commercials all the time. You deserve that massage. It'll solve your problems. Go buy it. You deserve that weekend spa. You'll feel better, right? The problem here isn't the spa. It isn't the massage. It's how it gets packaged. It's a false belief that if you can, one, avoid and escape your problems, and when you do, it'll fix you. Like there's a problem with you that needs to be fixed, right? That's not how comfort is supposed to work. Comfort is meant to, first, embrace and hold you as you are. Love and accept you for who you are. You're not a problem to be fixed. You're a person to be loved. There's a difference, right? But comfort is also meant to sustain, embrace, and give you the place to face your problems, not to escape or avoid them. You can go on retreat, but the retreat is meant to give you the energy to go back into the fray, not to suddenly avoid it. And far too often, if you've been like me, when you go on a vacation to escape, the minute you come back, you're dreading it. Why did I have to leave? Couldn't I just stay there? It's not seen as a place to give you the energy to face the world and the person you are and how you live, right? See the difference? That is one misunderstanding of comfort. The other, as I said, is that our culture treats comforts as superfluous luxuries that are not necessary for daily life, and it often shames all those who might want to enjoy life's comforts but aren't perceived as deserving it. I'm sure you've heard this rhetoric before, especially when it comes to conversations about SNAP benefits or social programs, right? How many times have we heard from political pundits since, I don't know, really ever, that people are wasting their benefits, they're buying shoes, they're getting their nails done, or they're buying jewelry? How many times have we heard political pundits say how people are misusing our tax dollars to buy TVs or brand items or some sort of perceived luxury that certain people shouldn't have access to, right? There is a way that comfort is seen as something that the poor either should avoid in order to responsibly care for their families, or worse, that the poor and the marginalized don't even deserve. First and foremost, it is kind of wild how we talk about luxury items, especially in the economy of 2025, okay? I hear on one particular racialized example that gets used is they're buying out shoes, getting a pair of Jordans. Okay, well, let's use that example, right? A new pair of Jordans, depending on its quality, of course, can range anywhere between $600 and maybe $1,200. Okay? Yeah, that's a pricey expense. Do you know how much it costs to pay rent? Do you know how much your mortgage costs? Do you know how much it costs to pay a family of 4 for a month at the grocery store? We're looking at the wrong problem here. You want to shame people for the occasional wild expense of what? Between $600 and $1,500? Instead of looking at the fact that you can't get a place in New York City under $2,000. The math isn't holding up. It's a tool that is used to shame the poor and to say it's your problem, you're in the straits you're in. It's your problem. You aren't getting the things that you need. And here is where I get most frustrated at our American economic system, of how we systemically shame the poor. When did housing become a luxury? When did healthy food become superfluous? When did clean water, the ability to take a shower, constant heat during the winter, when did they become comforts for only those who are wealthy enough to afford? So many of our daily living necessities have become so expensive. They're seen as optional luxuries and not things that are needed to practically keep human people alive. And these are just our basics, right? Our minimal basics: housing, water, food. But what about our social infrastructure or social needs? Just as housing is now a luxury, education is seen as optional. It is a luxury that is available if you put in the money to afford that fancy new charter school that's on your block, not the public school right down the street that has been undercut and underfunded, right? Education is seen as wealth status that can be earned by those who happen to have generational wealth, not those who should be a right to every person who can get it. And we see the same when it comes to healthcare, right? Healthcare is a luxury that you're sometimes offered by your employer and sometimes not, right? Something that's been privatized and monopolized. The highest rate of people who are going into foreclosure have everything to do with medical debt. We're human beings. We break down. We need healthcare. Healthcare is not an option. And yet we're strapped with debt that makes us poor and shamed as if it's our fault when our inevitable aging catches up with us. I'm just noticing in our culture how many of the very human things that we need have become so impossible to attain. And all of this desperate want for human needs creates the recipe for the political environment we're in right now. We're seeing that need get warped and used, as I've mentioned the last couple of weeks, against those who deserve it, those who deserve to have their health care or their benefits or their Medicare or their Social Security, and those who are frauding the system, right? Suddenly, we're watching while entire groups of people are being deemed as not human enough to get their human needs met. And we're watching the carelessness and the cruelty live. We're seeing the careless cutting of jobs and services of people everywhere across the federal government or across social services because it's a waste of money, right? They should be wealthy enough to afford it. Or we see the removal of undocumented people, but also the removal of green card holders and US citizens that are deemed, I don't know, too revolutionary or too political or insert thing here, shift off without due process because they deserved it. We see people that are getting into these ICE programs, and what do they have? They don't have pillows, they don't have blankets, they don't have beds. We're watching while trans and non-binary people have their identities forcibly removed from documents, barred from healthcare and access to their needs. We're seeing this active dehumanization of so many groups of people because there is this kind of narrative out there that some people don't deserve comfort or being human or getting access to their needs. And this harsh cruelty is leaving us fearful, hurt, and in despair, and in this fight and flight response to try to grab onto our own and let no one else take it. This is why we need comfort. We need comfort more than ever right now. We need to be able to welcome comfort not only into our own lives, but as a gesture of kindness, of grace, of mercy to our neighbors. We need communities of resilience, of generosity, of abundance. of a different narrative, right? Yes, we need to welcome comfort into our own lives so that we ourselves, as individuals, as people, as communities, can shore up the strength for the long journey of resistance that is to come. Whatever spiritual practices center you, do it. Whatever you can do to make sure your human needs are met, do it. Whatever little gifts you can give yourself, to give yourself a little bit more grace, to give yourself some time and presence, do it. Your body needs good food. Your body needs clean water and baths and showers and soft pillowcases and beautiful music. Your spirit needs walks in nature, wonder at being alive, moments of connection with friends, moments of beauty. Your heart needs support with loving family and friends, comforting times of solace and rest, love and laughter. We need these things if we are to be strong and dedicate ourselves to the world of love that we know is possible, despite all the cruelty we see around us. And we need to nurture that comfort for ourselves so we can give it to other people. As we've said, we were witnessing the cruelty and the callousness of our society now more than ever. Kindness is a necessary act of resilience. Trans people need safe spaces to be, to dance, to have some fun, to be themselves and to be loved. Going off script, a lot of people have brought up what happened during the AIDS pandemic, and there's a meme that went around online that, yes, we marched in the streets, yes, we attended funerals, and you know what we did at night? We went to the bars and we danced, because that's how we kept going to the funerals. That's how we kept going out on the streets. We need spaces for queer, trans, non-binary people to dance, to feel like they can be themselves fully in the glorious joy of who they are. Just as much, we also need our immigrant, undocumented neighbors to feel that kind of need and care, to feel that kind of safety. In the face of such terrible racism and dehumanization, we need spaces to offer housing and food and reassurance, to be good neighbors, to stand up and say, do you know your rights? Do you know how to protect yourself? Do you have someone you trust? And in the response of careless cutting away of so many livelihoods and benefits, we need communities that can give and take that cup of sugar, those meals, those places of safety. We need healthcare officials that care about their patients regardless of what benefits are going to be cut. We need people who can share comfort with others. Loving kindness is the through line for maintaining our humanity, no matter who's in power. No one can take away the humanity that comfort can give us. So welcome comfort. Yes, welcome that one blanket that you've reserved for when you're sick. Welcome those mugs of tea that you like to enjoy on rainy afternoons. Welcome that favorite movie you watch when things are hard. Welcome that neighbor across the street into your home with food and with laughter. Welcome the stranger with safety and solace. Welcome comfort, loving support, shoulders to cry on as you reach out your hand for others. These are precious and beloved. These are our saving mercies as we gather our strength to build the world of love we know is here and is still possible in spite of everything. Grace is the only way we all get out alive. May it be so, and amen.